This video is brought to you by the CLL Community Canada Facebook group and produced by InnovaHub.ca.
Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that touches the lives of thousands of Canadians every single year, the CLL and SLL Journey. Now, hearing those acronyms for the very first time, it can feel completely overwhelming. It's like you're suddenly drowning in an alphabet soup of medical jargon, right? Well, today we're going to cut through all that noise. We'll just gently walk through the absolute basics of what this journey actually looks like, step by step.
Honestly, if you're feeling a bit lost or confused by a new diagnosis, I want to validate that right out of the gate. When you're sitting there in a doctor's office and you hear these intimidating medical names dropped on you for the first time, it is completely natural to feel a massive wave of confusion. For newly diagnosed folks, the names of these conditions usually raise way more questions than they actually answer. And you know what? Acknowledging that sense of overwhelm is really the very first step to getting a handle on it.
Our source material actually highlights a really great approach for tackling this. It suggests breaking everything down into bite-sized pieces and just looking at a little bit each day. And honestly, that's exactly why we put this explainer together for you. We are definitely not trying to climb the entire mountain today. No way. We're just going to take a few careful, well-lit steps forward to help you grasp the absolute foundation. Okay, let's demystify these two big acronyms right off the bat. So CLL stands for chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and SLL stands for small lymphocytic lymphoma. I know, they sound like two completely different diseases, right? But here's the thing, they're actually two forms of the exact same slow-growing blood cancer, literally the exact same underlying condition. Wrapping your head around the fact that they're fundamentally the same thing, that is the absolutely crucial building block for everything else we're going to talk about. Now, you might be wondering, if CLL and SLL are the exact same blood cancer, what on earth are they actually doing inside the body? Well, it all comes down to something called B lymphocytes. To keep it simple, B lymphocytes are just a specific type of white blood cell. Usually, they're the good guys. They're the cells that help your body fight off infections. But in the case of both CLL and SLL, it's these specific infection-fighting cells that are actually being affected. And if you're navigating this diagnosis here in Canada, it's super important to know that this condition is incredibly well recognized. In fact, it's actually the most common adult leukemia in the entire country. So why does that matter for you? Well, it matters because being the most common means our medical community is deeply, deeply familiar with it. We're talking about well-established protocols, mountains of ongoing research, and brilliant specialists who are completely dedicated to this exact journey. To put that into perspective, between 2,200 and 2,400 new cases of this disease are diagnosed each and every year in Canada. Just let that sink in for a second. When you first get that diagnosis, it can feel so incredibly isolating, almost like you're on an island. But those numbers, they prove that you are part of a much larger, truly established community. There are literally thousands of Canadians walking this exact same road right alongside you. Okay, this brings us to a real aha moment. If CLL and SLL are the exact same disease, affecting the exact same cells, why in the world do they have different names? Well, it's entirely about geography. It's all about where those abnormal cells physically show up in the body. If the abnormal cells are found mainly circulating in your blood and bone marrow, doctors call it CLL. But if those exact same abnormal cells are hanging out mainly in your lymph nodes or your spleen, it gets called SLL. See, it is quite literally just a matter of location. So let's lock in our main takeaway for today's explainer. Different location, same underlying disease. Whether those abnormal B lymphocytes decide to gather in the blood and bone marrow as CLL, or they set up shop in the lymph nodes and spleen as SLL, the slow-growing blood cancer itself is 100% identical. And there you go. You now know exactly what these conditions are, the specific cells they affect, and the real reason why they go by different names.
Thank you for watching. For additional information, go to InnovaHub.ca, and to join in the conversation, join the CLL Community Canada Facebook group.